Whether it be famous faces, historical figures, or victims of the most horrific crimes in history, we aim to understand and portray the events and timestamps which led to the person or persons' death, whilst attempting to disclose the reasons or motives behind it. In today's episode, we will examine the last days and final hours of one of the most influential and famous artists in history, Prince. How could a musician whose music and persona spanned decades and portrayed a sense of calm, cool and collectiveness, who was seemingly against all forms of addictive substances, be found dead in an elevator with drugs in his system? Was his death self-inflicted, or was someone behind it? What was the aftermath? And do the conspiracy theories surrounding his death reveal something more? Let's find out as we review the untimely death of the artist, formerly known as Prince. So, who was Prince really, and how did his life in music result in such a premature and skeptical death on the 21st of April 2016 at the age of 57? As ever, it is best to go back to the beginning to get a brief summary of the man himself. To study Prince's life in music alone would take a few episodes and barely scratch the surface, so we will focus on the basic information before delving into his last days and eventual demise. Prince Rogers Nelson Jr. was born on the 7th of June 1958 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. As many already know, the multi-talented artist was a singer, guitarist, songwriter, producer, dancer, and actor. His musical range was off the scale when it came to his voice, live performances, fashion style, and instrument playing, for which he could play more than 14 instruments effortlessly. Only a select few artists could compete with Prince's musical prowess and artistry. He was a rare breed who would often be credited as the sole participant on a number of his recordings, from writing to producing to singing and instruments. His range of style began with funk and soul before he expanded into the world of disco, jazz, punk, hip-hop, and even heavy metal. Known for his falsetto and commanding stage presence, Prince was one of a kind, whose death has left a massive hole in the musical and entertainment industry. Not to mention his adoring fans who idolized the man, and to those who viewed him as a sex symbol and cultural icon. Again, the life and death of Prince could warrant multiple episodes due to the multifaceted looks, events, and controversies that occurred during his time here. So let us look at the build-up to his death and attempt to decipher the fact from the fiction. It is reported that Prince had a meeting with a medical specialist named Michael Todd Schulenberg on two separate occasions, once on April 7, 2016, and again on April 20th. On April 7th, the musician postponed two sold-out performances at the Fox Theatre in Atlanta as part of his Piano and a Microphone tour. An article from the Guardian news outlet reported that Prince pulled the plug on the show approximately 1 hour before he was supposed to be on stage. The venue released a statement confirming that he had suffered from influenza and the concert was rescheduled for the following week. No one would know that the rescheduled performance would be his last. Yet, despite feeling unwell, Prince did not let his fans down and entertained his followers one last time before preparing for a flight the next morning. While flying back to the Twin Cities area of Excelsior, approximately 15 miles southwest of downtown Minneapolis, Prince suddenly became unresponsive and his private jet was forced to make an emergency landing at Quad Cities International Airport in Moline, Illinois. Fellow singer and friend of the star, Judith Hill, was aboard the plane, along with his aide, Kirk Johnson, when he lost consciousness. She stated in an interview with the New York Times that, whilst discussing performance factors and her own progressive career in the music industry, his eyes just fixed. Thankfully, I happened to be looking into his face. After trying to unsuccessfully rouse the singer, Hill goes on to say that, "We knew it was only a matter of time. We had to get down. We didn't have anything on the plane to help him." Luckily, the plane landed in time and he was immediately hospitalized, where he was administered naloxone, a medication used to block the effects of opioids, especially following an overdose. Eventually he would regain consciousness, and despite doctors' attempts to persuade him otherwise, he checked himself out against medical advice. Representatives would later state that he was suffering from dehydration and that his flu symptoms had resurfaced. However, after arriving home, he would reportedly throw a party the very next day. Those close to the musician believe he was over the worst of things and was on the road to recovery. A couple of days after that party, he attended a local jazz club in Minneapolis, as well as being spotted cycling around Paisley Park, a 65,000 square foot estate in Chanhassen, Minnesota, which was owned by the singer himself. He was also seen shopping at Electric Fetus record store in Minneapolis and made a brief appearance at an impromptu dance party at his Paisley Park recording studio complex. When asked about his health, he would state that he was feeling fine. One of his last outings came on April the 19th, when he attended a performance by the American jazz and gospel singer Liz Wright at the Dakota Jazz Club, situated in Nicollet Mall in downtown Minneapolis. On April the 20th, 2016, the day before his untimely death, Prince's representatives called Howard Cornfield, a California specialist in addiction medicine and pain management, reportedly seeking medical advice and assistance for the star. It was agreed that Prince would attend a meeting with Cornfield on April the 22nd. The doctor ensured that his schedule was clear for a full examination of the musician. Pictures and videos of Prince were released by Minnesota police after the singer's death, when authorities confirmed that no criminal charges would be filed against anyone in connection with his demise. The Carver County Sheriff's Office in Carver County, Minnesota, released a photo taken from surveillance footage that shows Prince entering the office of Dr. Michael T. Schulenberg on the penultimate day. The physician was known to be treating him after being referred by Kirk Johnson, so the footage itself is not eerie or sinister. However, it does show the singer's last known movements before his fate was sealed the next day. Schulenberg ran some tests and prescribed medications to help him. A urinalysis came back positive for opioids. According to transcripts from investigators, Johnson would go on record to state his concern for the artist's behaviour by declaring, "It started to all make sense, though just his behaviour sometimes and change of mood. That's why I took the initiative and said, let's go to my doctor, because you haven't been to the doctor. Let's check it all out." He went on to state that Prince cancelled more public appearances and concerts as he wanted to talk to somebody about his addiction. However, many believe and have criticised the handling of Prince's appointments, doctor selection, and prescription of medication by his entourage and close associates. Schulenberg would subsequently agree to pay $30,000 to settle a federal civil claim for knowingly writing a prescription in someone else's name, Johnson's. This action violated the Controlled Substances Act. According to police interviews, Johnson and his personal assistant, Marin, were the last to see him alive that night. Prince was alone in Paisley Park overnight, and his body wasn't discovered until the next morning. And so the day would come that would shock the world of music and entertainment to its core. At 9:43 a.m. on April the 21st, 2016, the Carver County Sheriff's Office received a 911 call requesting an ambulance to be sent to Prince's home at Paisley Park. The caller began the call by stating that the unidentified person was unconscious before retracting the statement to confirm that he was actually dead. Clarification of the identity would come swiftly afterwards as a dozen police cars pulled into Paisley Park, many of which were unmarked, to attend the scene. It was also confirmed later that the caller who found the body was Howard Cornfield's son, who had flown in that morning with the painkiller buprenorphine with the intention of drawing up a treatment plan for the singer's supposed opioid addiction. When the emergency teams located Prince's body, he was totally unresponsive in an elevator. First responders administered CPR to no avail, one of the paramedics confirming that revival techniques were useless as he had been dead for at least 6 hours. Prince was pronounced dead at 10:07 a.m., 19 minutes after their arrival. After searching the body and surrounding area for immediate clues or paraphernalia, they reported no signs of foul play or indication of suicide. With shockwaves rippling across social media outlets, news bulletins, and other gossip channels, many were intrigued and seeking answers as soon as possible. Several images show the superstar's body on the floor of his Paisley Park estate, near the elevator. He is lying on his back with his eyes closed and his head is still partly in the elevator itself. His right hand is placed on his stomach and left arm is on the floor. After numerous tests and handling of the evidence, scene of death, and discussions with the star's press team, a statement was finally released on the 2nd of June by the Midwest Medical Examiner's Office in Anoka County. The statement declared that Prince had died of an accidental overdose of fentanyl at the age of 57. After further investigations, the fentanyl that led to his supposed overdose was contained with counterfeit pills, which were disguised as hydrocodone. This led to a separate investigation into who supplied the singer with the dangerous drug and if they too were aware of the hazards. A search warrant was issued by law enforcement to enter his home and another unsealed warrant issued for the local Walgreens pharmacy. Despite widespread concern and assumption, on April 19, 2018, the Carver County attorney confirmed that the investigation had concluded that no criminal charges were being filed. Instead, it declared that their findings categorically proved that Prince was addicted to opioids. With regards to Prince's body, following an autopsy performed by A. Quinn Strobel, the star's remains were cremated. His sister, Tyka Nelson, filed a court order to Carver County on April 26, 2016 to open a probate case, stating that no will had been found. Prince was neither married nor known to have fathered any surviving children. He was divorced twice, but under Minnesota law, the absence of will meant that, in addition to his sister, Prince's 5 half-siblings had a claim to his multi-million-dollar estate. According to reports, 700 people claimed to be half-siblings or descendants of the late singer within 3 weeks of his death. Prince's ashes were placed into a customized 3D printed urn, which was shaped like the Paisley Park estate and had been designed by Tyka and her son, President. The urn was put on display in the atrium of the Paisley Park complex in October 2016. As of August 2022, the Prince estate has been officially settled. The circumstances surrounding the death of Prince have never diminished, though in fact more and more theories have come to light in the wake of his ill-timed demise. Conspiracy theorists have focused on certain aspects of the singer's beliefs, songs, and actions, which may indicate that he was either killed or at least knew of his pending death. He was outspoken on certain issues and political figures, such as Barack Obama and Ronald Reagan, whom he refers to in the song Ronnie Talked to Russia. He was also deeply religious and incorporated his faith into his lifestyle and music, as well as expressing his love for animals by adopting a vegan diet and the Black Lives Matter movement. Many of these can attract negative, disruptive, or even violent responses from those whose opinions differ or are radically opposed to these particular thoughts and beliefs. Some believe this could have led to the poisoning of his medication that resulted in his death. Prince was also a big proponent of the chemtrail theory, the belief that long-lasting condensation trails left in the sky by aircraft actually contain chemicals or biological agents sprayed onto the public for specific tests such as population control, weather modification, and even psychological manipulation. Some believe that sinister forces were monitoring his actions and influence over public opinion and may have killed him due to him knowing too much about political or government agendas. A clip of the singer went viral, which is said to have been recorded at a show in Utrecht, the Netherlands, on December 23, 1998, leading many to believe that Prince was trying to warn us of the 9/11 attack in New York City. Near the end of the show, he sings the following phrases: "I got to go back to America. I got to get ready for the bomb. Osama bin Laden, get ready to bomb. America, you'd better watch out. 2001 hit me." On the song Let's Go Crazy from the Purple Rain album, Prince says at the end of the monologue, "And if the elevator tried to break you down, go crazy, punch a higher floor." In an interview with VH1, he explained that the lyric is meant to describe the devil being the elevator dropping, and that punching a higher floor to mean being closer to God. However, theorists believe that Prince was predicting not only when, but where he would die. Conspiracies aside, it goes without saying that Prince was a fascinating, multi-talented superstar whose influence, style, and music will remain everlasting in not only the entertainment industry, but in social and cultural life as a whole. Far too often do we learn of the sad passing of men and women whose lives touch millions of people to the degree of Prince, yet struggled with depression, addiction, or suicidal issues. Idols like David Bowie, Michael Jackson and George Michael seemed to leave us far too soon, but thankfully their music and legacy will continue to shine forever. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Last 24, folks. Join us next time for another fascinating case. But until then, stay safe and take care.